Well, the Arizona black walnuts are on their way. You find the walnut trees that actually have walnuts on them before they're ripe. Like right now, you know, they're not ripe yet because it's still summer. It's early August. I'm going to show you New Mexico locust again. Before, in an earlier video, I showed you that the flowers were edible. Now these seed pods, I've also heard from one source, are edible, but I've never tried it before until today. So supposedly you can eat this either raw or boiled. I've noticed that these beans actually don't taste too bad. So I'll be your guinea pig. I'm going to just throw these into my mouth. Yeah, actually not bad at all. And so I could imagine how if you cooked them up or boiled them up, they would even be a lot better. There's so many new locust plants out here in the wilderness, at least in the Bradshaw Mountains, that you could really have a lot of food here. This is a summer food, and I'd recommend it for food. But with this warning, New Mexico locust beans are edible, not black locust. Again, just like in the juniper forest, these prickly pear fruits are very, very late compared to lower elevations. They're not ripe yet, but you'll find them up on the sides of the mountains. They'll ripen later. It doesn't mean you couldn't eat them, but boy, you could just wait until they're ripe and have one of the best tasting fruits that grows in Arizona. I know we've been through this before in the last juniper forest video, but this is false indigo. And you'll notice the leaves are pretty much the same, but a miniaturized version of the New Mexico locust. And here's the seed itself. Tastes actually much better when you pull it out of the pod than eating it with the pod, but you know, of course that's a lot of work because they're very small. Okay, I've got to show you goldenrod flowers are growing all over these mountains here. When they had the Boston Tea Party and threw all the tea overboard, the colonists they just basically replaced that tea with goldenrod tea. So this is a type of goldenrod. There's different types. And this is the best natural tea that I've found out here in the mountains yet. I absolutely, when I tried that, I loved it. I stripped the leaves off and took some flowers too. Why not? Put it in, in water, boiled it up, and then poured that after it was done steeping. Really, poured that into a cup through a sieve, and that was just amazing tea. Honestly, I really, really highly recommend it. And then I dried the leaves and the flowers and did the same thing after they were dry, and it was still fantastic. So yeah, very recommendable if you can find goldenrod in your area, which obviously, if it grows in New England and in the Bradshaw Mountains above Prescott, then that stuff grows in a lot of places. This is a Manzanita tree. See, they don't just come out of bushes. They grow big enough to really be considered trees if you give them enough time to. Okay, here's some green manzanita berries that are, this is basically your green apple variation. When they're green like this, you can chew the seeds a lot easier than later when they dry out and harden up. It just has a sour apple taste, but it's food. It's free. The reason the Manzanita berries here are so late in growing, they're just coming out in August, is because of the elevation. At lower elevations they're already probably ripe, but up here they're just popping out on the bushes. So again, if you're planning to forage near your house, wherever you live, check in advance. Look for the oak trees that look like they're gonna have a lot of acorns on them, like this one. See, the acorns are growing, not anywhere near ready, but you can see that this tree is going to be full of acorns. Well, I almost made it to the bluffs I was trying to get to. They're just right across the ravine from me. You can't see it, but I'm thinking about camping by this mine here. It's basically a small mine. Definitely long abandoned. And I think I'm going to use this for my camp for the night. So anyway, there's a big old juniper tree here. So it tells me there's a lot of cushioning probably on the ground that I can use.
Are you ready for the future? Are you ready for chaos? Are you ready for destruction? Are you ready for the storm? If you're ready for the earthquakes, if you're ready for the wars, if you're ready for starvation, then you're ready.
Okay, I'm going to show you a really simple water purification method where you don't need purification tablets or anything, whatever. Right here, all you need really is plastic water bottles. In this case, in my pack, I've got the water bottles in the pack, right? So you fill them full of water. I'm almost out of water. This is all I got left. But anyway, you fill them full of water. So let's say you found a creek and you fill them up, right? Leave them somewhere. Laying on their side is best so they get the most amount of sunlight. So you just leave them somewhere where they're going to get sun all day. Put them out there in the morning. I've got it on a rock here where it pretty much doesn't matter. You know, in this instance, it doesn't really matter where the sun is. The sun's going to hit it all day long. So you just leave them there all day, and then at night they can cool off, and then you've got purified water in the morning. So pretty simple, huh? Now, a little warning. All plastic bottles have a toxin in them that could cause, you know, cancer, Alzheimer's, whatever. But if you're using plastic water bottles for your hiking or whatever, you're drinking that toxin anyway. So, just a fair warning. If you tried glass, unfortunately, it's the UV that purifies the water, and glass blocks out UV, so that's the problem with that, even though it wouldn't have the toxin in it. Alright, well, my mouth is parched, kind of gums are sticking together, and I wanted to say the majority of people who die of thirst, which won't happen to me because I've got only a couple hours maybe to get to water, but most people who die of thirst with water in their canteen or in their water bottle, believe it or not, because they're trying to conserve. You know, they're thinking they're rationing out their, water. Well, this is what I've got left. I'm going to drink it because holding it inside of a container or holding it inside of you, it doesn't make any difference except that it benefits you if it's in you instead of a container. So better to drink the water and have it all gone than to be thirsty and rationing water to yourself. Okay, next step, you drank all your water. Now keep your mouth shut, not like what I'm doing right now because I'm talking to the camera. Keep your mouth closed and breathe in and out through your nose. I know, you're supposed to breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth, all that crap. Not when you're thirsty and you don't have water. Okay, these are lupine beans, and they're in the, what I would refer to as the final stage that of their life as beans. I didn't know how to word that, but this basically there's 3 stages. The first stage, you saw me eat some in an earlier video where I ate the whole bean together. The second stage, the pod itself is too tough to eat, so you split open the pod, and the beans inside are fresh, sort of like peas. This is the third stage, where inside the beans are just, well, the pods are dried up, the beans are dried up, so they're like little miniature versions of what you would find in the grocery store, right? So these are, at this third stage, they're ready for storage for winter. So this is basically the fall stage, even though it's late, or rather early August. So you want to gather up all kinds of food for winter if you are living out here in the wild. Starting with the lupine, because they're already dried up. Here's a good pod right here. Good example right there. There you go.